Okay. We want to show okay, we asked this. We said, is physiology a complete science? The internet does not totally know directly the answer right offhand. Uh, it comes up with, is physiology a science course? Well, physiology is the science of life. It is the branch of biology that aims to understand the mechanisms of living things, from the basis of cell function at the ionic and molecular level to the integrated behavior of the whole body and the influence of the external environment. Physiology is an experimental science. Well, right offhand, you can say that that sounds like it's not a complete science. Well, guess what? You're probably right, because there are different dosages that have never been studied. There are different levels of energy that have never been studied. There are different alternative chemistries that have never been studied. Hell, there are molecules that have not even been created in the many multiplexed configuration of biochemistry. There are alternative configurations to biology and genetics. There are alternative scenarios. There are alternative sequences. There are alternative mixtures. Physiology is not a complete science. There is much still yet to learn about different physiologies for different people. Um, I think they're still trying to connect genetics to the proteome. They think that they understand genetic conditions and causes. But guess what? I bet that that is not fully tested. And basically, the question is, what are the alternatives? Can we come up to test the alternatives? Can we show all of the connections of the current state of physiology? Can we collect the? Can we assume the history of physiology? There's some hypotheses on different courses of biochemical biology and evolution. So, like, this is pretty questionable. We know quite a bit about some pretty good basis of physiology and biology. I mean, there's a lot of science that has been developed, and that is so awesome. But for everyone to make certain physiological claims as a doctor, one thing you should never do is proclaim that you absolutely could force a medication on someone or prove that there is not an alternative condition. Prove that a medication is absolute. Prove that anything you can't, if you can't prove it and you don't have the evidence, because physiology is not a complete science, you really you're indulging into probably millions of combinations of dimensional aspects, and I'm not even sure computers can compute all of the potential physiological differences. Uh, they could, but it would take a while. So it would take a long while. So technically, physiology right now is a real generic, basic, good, decent, okay understanding. But when it gets down into certain details of atoms, molecules, and polymers and alternatives, you don't want to really claim that you have all the answers. Just don't do it. Just don't claim that you're an absolute perfect doctor. Never do that. It will be thousands of years before they understand the integrated physiology, as a complete science. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Uh, I'm going to add this to my lawsuit video, CMHC.